Okay. Okie dokie. So I guess we should just introduce the show first, too, shouldn't we? Hello, welcome to the Viewers Club. I'm your moderator for this episode, Megan. I am here with...
Us!
Introduce yourselves.
Woo.
Let's try that again. My name is Megan.
My name is Tessa.
My name's... We need to have an order.
Okay, let's try that again. Okay, let's try that again. No, not the slate cut. We're past that. Now we're into the chaos. So,
Why?
welcome to the Viewers Club. My name is Megan.
And I'm Tessa.
I am Lucas.
And I am Osama.
And welcome to our very first episode. This is going to be a train wreck. But I'm very
I'm
excited.
so ready. Oh my gosh.
So, on this podcast, we mainly talk about movies, film, geeky stuff, basically anything. We're just going to talk about anything that we want to, but mainly like movies and TV and things like that.
Nice.
So,
Very nice.
yeah. So, on this episode, we are calling this new series or segment. I'm going to call it segment. I think that makes more sense, I guess. On this segment, it is called Season 1 or Done. 1 as in W-O-N, but also O-N-E. And basically what we're going to do is we watch the first season of a TV show or a Netflix original series or whatever, as long as it's the first season, and then we talk about it and decide whether it has won us over, as in W-O-N, or we are done with it, we are not watching any more of it, as in D-O-N-E. So, on this episode, we're going to be talking about The Witcher. Woo! The Netflix original series, The Witcher.
Yes.
Witcher is a... The Witcher follows the fantasy world of... The Witcher. How do you say his name? Because I could never
Geralt.
say it. Geralt? Geralt. So the show follows the character Geralt on his way to find his destiny. Now, what should be stated right now is that this is going to have some serious spoilers for the very first season of The Witcher. So if you have not watched it and do not wish to be spoiled, you have been warned. Go watch the first season and then come and join us and talk and listen to us talk about it, and then follow us on social media and let us know what your guys' thoughts are. Tessa, you want to give out our social media handle?
Yes, so our Instagram is at the Viewers Club. So be sure to find us on social media. I believe we also have a YouTube account and a Spotify account. And so, yes, follow us,
Soon
please.
we will have more.
Yes, yes, and we will be sharing our content on those platforms.
Epic stuff. So I want to get into it. I'm going to be moderating this episode, so I want to just dive right into it. I want to talk about the fact that when I was watching The Witcher, I wasn't expecting to find a catchy song that would be stuck in my head for weeks.
Right.
So...
That's so true. Oh
Would
my
agree.
god.
That blew up on every meme
that
platform.
song.
Good God.
It really did. It really did. I can hear it faintly in the
cannot-
background. I'm like,
Toss a
I know.
coin to your
Like,
Witcher,
what?
oh valley of energy. Yep. It's a lovely little jig.
No, Lucas,
It's
now
a
it's stuck in my
lovely,
head
but
again.
I am the bard, so it makes sense.
So, yeah, anyway, I just had to get that off my chest because it's been stuck in my head for weeks now. Literally on repeat on my Spotify playlist, just nonstop
Right.
playing that song.
nice.
Anyway, I want to talk about, the characters and stuff. What is you guys' overall opinion of these characters and the way that this story was told? Because I was not expecting them to do time jumping when I first watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For me personally, it kind of took me a minute to catch on to that Because I'm like, wait,
Mhm.
wasn't he? Where?
Right.
What is actually
Where
happening?
was it?
But then I caught on and I'm like, oh, okay.
It's like the
I have it.
4th episode when you really catch on
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
it. You know, it was like, what was it? The king.
And his sister.
What was his name? Yeah, the king and his sister. So you see like the older
Foltest.
version of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Foltest. You see like the older version of him and then the younger version of him, and then I was like, wait a minute, my brain,
Brain.
it hurts.
Oh yeah.
But I really appreciated that they did that. At first, I was thinking, this is completely unnecessary. Why are we doing time jumping? But then you see all the stories and all the people that are connected to just these two, you know,
Mhm.
Geralt and, what was the princess's name again?
Ciri.
Ciri, yeah. So Geralt and, like, Ciri,
Mhm.
you see all these people connected to them and then how they, in turn, become connected to each other. That was so interesting.
Oh man, that was really. I really loved. I loved Ciri so much. I loved her entire storyline, and it's like almost a new Arya. It was really cool to kind of see that journey. And I was gonna make a joke that when you said her name, it activated my phone. But basically, I had the same feeling on the time jump. Was it's like that moment when you see the king and the sister, you're like, wait. But yeah, I thought it was cool
What's
how
happening?
they didn't really need like a title that said 40 years earlier or whatever. It was just a nice, cool
Mhm.
transition.
It all just made sense.
Yeah.
Like, up until the point where Geralt returns back to the kingdom to, like, claim Law of Surprise, you know?
Right.
It just all really made a lot of sense. And
Mhm.
I was kind of thinking, not a lot of film that I've seen, and I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I do know that it's hard to get that time jump right.
Yeah.
You know, where it makes sense and you don't have to have 5 years later or 5 years earlier,
Yeah.
you know?
And without spoiling too much, it kind of reminds me of. It reminded me of.
Dude, we already gave spoiler
Well,
warning.
yeah, true, true. It reminded me of the first season of Westworld. I don't know if you guys have seen that show. But the
I
first.
haven't yet.
I have not.
Okay, cool. I won't. I won't say anything. The first.
Do they do time jumping in that though?
Yeah, like the first season, but it's not overt at all. Like it doesn't have any title that says that,
Mhm.
and you really.
It's subtle.
Yeah, and you don't realize it until they use it as a really awesome storytelling device. And so I really appreciate it when they do that, and I think they did that with The Witcher.
I think they did it really well with The Witcher, and I think it developed the characters a lot smoother than having like to keep doing like flashbacks or something. You know what I mean? Where they're remembering what happened to them instead. It's
Right.
just like, no, this happened at a time,
Right,
at a time and place before these events happened. You just don't know when it did happen,
right.
and I find that very interesting. And I think it aided the character's development a little bit more.
Mhm.
There were some iffy moments where I'm still a little uncertain about with character choices, but I think it's because they didn't show it. So I think like the big one for me that was a little more iffy was how stubborn Geralt was on claiming Ciri at first, you know what I mean?
Fine.
Like she was not born yet, but he was very much like, no, I don't believe in destiny. No, I'm not going to be doing this,
Mhm.
sort you know? But then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I came here for her. Like,
Right.
I'm here now. I've
Mhm.
changed my mind about things, and I'm trying to figure out when in the story that made him change his mind.
Right.
You know what I
I
mean?
think
Yeah.
Yeah.
the part that really did it was the episode where they go after the dragon, and
Mhm.
he's talking with Yennefer afterwards, and then she finds out that he has a child through the Law of
Right.
Surprise, which she can't bear children, he can't bear children. He has the one thing she wants more than anything else in the world,
Yeah.
and that
Okay.
kind of burns a bridge for him, and kind of
Mhm.
just has him reassess a little bit.
Yennefer definitely acts as a bridge for a lot of his character development. Like he kind of learns
I will
what's
say
important
this.
through her.
I will say this, and I'll add on to that because this is the next question I want to talk to you guys. Favorite characters? I think Yennefer is up there as my favorite character in the story thus far.
Mm,
Yeah, same with me. And like her character development just throughout this first season is so like drastic.
Yeah.
I know.
It was really interesting to watch, like the different choices.
But her choices, like, yeah, her choices for me made a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
In
Like
what
as far
ways?
as like being reborn and then wanting a child again.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at it this way, she was really young when she started training, and then she
Right.
was like, I would rather be beautiful and have power because that's what I want. And then decades go by, and she realizes like the biggest mistake that she made when she was younger, and she's trying to change that decision that she's made.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think was a very strong character development, and it seemed really natural for someone to have. Because as you get older, you may want to like have a family, and she did want to have a kid of her own. Whether it was for like the right reasons is still up for debate, but
Right. Yeah, because she seems like, and I agree, Yennefer's one of my favorites, if not my favorite character, and I think a part of it, and I can't remember what her name was. It was the headmistress of the academy, Tisea,
oh,
or
gosh.
Chisea, something like that. When
I know who you're talking about.
I'm pulling up character
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
I thought it was really, I think she brought out a lot of what was true about Yennefer, and it was what Yennefer, like, didn't want to admit. Like, I think a part of wanting a child might have been because she couldn't have it. Like, wanting something that you couldn't have. Like, I feel like that was a big thing for her. Like, I can't have it, so it makes me want it even more. But I think through what you were talking about with her character development, she definitely becomes more genuine in her feelings, and it becomes more heartfelt as the series goes on through how she feels.
I can say the character that I like, even though Geralt is like the main character, I can't say that I connected with him nearly as much as I did with Yennefer, which I found very interesting because he's one of and specifically the main character in the show, but I did not connect with him nearly as much as I connected with Yennefer.
The reason why it's hard to connect with Geralt is due to the fact that he's, kind of stoic, passive, neutral. And the reason of that, they explained it, is because the Witchers are boys who were taken and essentially manufactured into monster killing machines.
Right.
So it's harder to connect with somebody who doesn't really emote. There were times where essentially you could connect.
I'm not saying that you can't connect with somebody who doesn't emote, because they do that in other movies all the time, and it's really easy to. I think it's because we just don't know enough about his past and how he became a Witcher. It hints at it, it alludes at it, but as far as like overall backstory that was given, Yennefer had the deepest and most, the deeper backstory than all the other characters did. You actually got to see where she started from and then where she is now.
Yeah. And I think as they go on and creating the next seasons, like, we'll get more insight on The Witcher and like more character development from him. And I also think that now that he's reunited with his daughter, things are going to be changing.
Well,
in his world.
Surprise.
Yes.
His ward.
Yeah. What do you think about
I-
Ciri's character development?
Ciri's character. I think that hers was also very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think it follows the same with Geralt, is that I just didn't connect with her nearly as much as I thought I was going to, which is fine. You know what I mean? She's a young girl, and she's like trying to survive, losing her family, losing her kingdom.
Right.
Literally, almost everybody hates her, and anyone who tries to save her ends up dying.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. It was.
and
Yeah.
I really did appreciate her relationship with Dara. The first person who tried to save her, but she also wasn't very honest with him in that sense as well. It was very interesting. I think she's a very interesting character, and I want to see more in her character in the future,
Yeah.
which I definitely think that there's going to be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. She definitely. It was neat to see her transform from kind of this, this princess who was always kind of rebellious to really seeing like the truth of the world, because it's hard to see what is beyond the castle walls and what's beyond the kingdom itself. So then really getting into the darkness of the world, you kind of see her lose trust in lots of people, and the people that she does, it's, you know, it's very scattered, and I'm intrigued to see what they do with her character. On this,
What do you guys, Tessa, Osama, what do you guys think of Siri overall? Like, her story, her character development, her in general, like...
It's interesting the way they went at it. I'm gonna hold judgment until we get later on, or hold my statements until we get later on into the questions, because there's a specific question that I want to tie into this.
Well, if there is, then you should ask it. Don't be afraid not to ask questions.
Yeah, so, from what I understand, none of you guys have played the games or read the books.
I
No,
haven't.
I did not. I knew that it was a game. I knew that this was definitely a game.
Mhm.
That's something I did know. I did not know that there was a book series to it. I do intend to actually read the series, though,
Same.
because I hear it's really good, and I'm very interested.
Yeah, so there's actually, between the game and the show holds more faithful to the books,
Mhm.
but there was stuff in the show that that actually weren't in the books. For example, I'm gonna make some enemies here, but Yennefer's beautification, her going from ugly to beautiful,
Mhm.
that's not in the books.
Okay.
Interesting.
As I haven't read that particular part, but as I understand it, it was a different reason why. I think it was. I'm not entirely sure about this, but I think it was to gain immortality or something, like the council's supposed to.
I don't
that she
think
had to
they're
give
not,
up.
I don't think that they're not alluding to immortality, because it seems like everyone goes through that quote beautification process. Yennefer just went through like a different, stronger version of it. So I think that it does tie into the immortality, but I think that the way that they were going about it in like the movie or the show is that they wanted her to covet power more, which I think deepens her character more than like immortality. She wants to be remembered and have power.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was
I forgot originally what I was going to tie in, so we can move on.
okay. So you already did bring up the games. I have not played the games. I've seen some of the game play. I can't say for me that I would be too interested in playing the video games. Osama, you said that you had played it. Tessa, Lucas, have you guys seen it or played any of the video
I've
games?
seen it.
No, I haven't.
I haven't played it, but I've seen it. Different YouTubers play it, and some of my friends have it, so I've seen them play. All I know is that apparently the horse roach can end up anywhere. That it can just be on top
demon
of
horse,
the
yeah.
barn.
Roach is my hero.
Right.
Can we just, 1 second, can we just appreciate Roach for a second?
Right,
here?
Roach appreciation.
He follows this guy into death.
Not even
Roach
phased.
follows this guy into death all the time, doesn't blink,
Right.
always comes back to the same person, and yet he still has to be Gerald's therapist.
Right.
Because that's all he talks to.
It's like on
is
top of it all.
Roach.
Yeah, I love that.
On top of all of this, on top of all of this crap, I also have to be your therapist. Thanks a lot.
Right. Oh man.
I just wanted to give
Aw.
props to Roach. I also want to give props to our bard friend because he's nuts.
Oh yes. Oh yes indeed. I love
Yeah.
Jaskier. He's awesome.
It's actually funny because if you compare him in the show to the game, first off, in the game he's not called Jaskier. He's called Dandelion in the game, and Jaskier is actually, I think, Polish for dandelion.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
That's a good little.
So in the game they call him Dandelion, and the funny part is he's braver in the show.
Wow.
He's much braver in the show than he is in the game.
I think that's why I really like him too. Is that out of all of the people, most people like when they meet Gerald, they're like, "Oh fuck that guy! I'm not gonna."
Right.
That guy will. I'll pay that guy, but like. I'll pay that guy to like kill my monster and stuff, but I'm not gonna hang out with that guy. But
Right.
But he's just like, I'm gonna hang out with
It's
this
like,
guy because this guy's kind of cool.
This dude is a plethora of
He
stories. He's gonna give me all kinds of
He
songs.
actively goes out and finds this guy.
Right. He's like, dude, you are my muse. Go kill monsters. I will write songs about you. We're going places.
I love the scene that leads up to Geralt and Jaskier meeting Yennefer
Yeah.
when he's fishing for the Jinn.
Gosh, I love that.
Oh,
And
that's such
the
a
funny
good
part
one.
was, I was on YouTube the other day and I saw a video where it was that scene just in different
Yeah.
languages. And I don't know why, but it was funnier in each different language.
I also want to talk about that scene because I think that was a really good scene.
Yes.
Because we know that Geralt is the one who claimed the Jinn,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that after we figure out that he granted a wish for that guy's head to blow up.
Right.
Now, I just want to talk about how great that scene was shot because it looked like he had scratched himself on the glass. And then we're like, oh, he doesn't have the wishes. Freaking
Right.
freaking Bard has all the wishes now, that sucks. And then it was so well done that you think the Jinn is just trying to kill him,
Right.
but in actuality it's what Geralt wished for.
Right. Inadvertently.
And the way that it was shot, where it looked like he, and the way that it was shot to give you that big surprise at the end, where it looks like he got cut by the glass, is actually the Mark I of his wishes.
Right.
Was so well done.
Mhm.
I really appreciated that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I
Oh,
appreciated
gosh.
that too.
Yeah.
Like,
And
beautiful.
So good.
Applaud. I applaud.
Applaud. You win. Thank you. I guess my yeah.
Just going back a minute, I remembered what I wanted to tie in with the games is that Ciri's genealogy actually holds truer to the books in the show, because in the game, the empire that's invading, Ciri's the daughter of the emperor. So it's a very different dynamic, and from what I understand, the show is more faithful to the books in that respect.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I'm very interested to see it because there's definitely something going on there, and what I appreciate is that they haven't given it away yet.
Mm-hmm.
They've given you hints at it, and if
Right.
you've read the books and stuff, you know what's coming up. But if you haven't, it's like, ooh, what's gonna happen?
Okay.
Which brings me to like the thing that almost pissed me off about the story, about the show. It almost like fully irritated me to like the max. Was the very last scene in the very last episode of season 1 that almost made me throw something at my TV was the fact that Ciri knew that she had to go after her destiny, and she runs off into the forest just as Geralt pulls up in the carriage.
Oh
And all
my
I can
God.
think about is if they ended it where she left, you know, and then he shows up and they don't find each other in the first season, I would have been
Yes.
pissed. Like,
That would have been very bad.
that would have been the most annoying thing in the entire world. I would have thrown a giant boulder at my TV and said, no, I don't believe you.
In my opinion, that scene was probably one of the most suspenseful, just because you're all like, are they going to do this? Are they going to make me so mad to the point where,
Yeah.
That's why I thought it was so good. It's like it irritated me in the beginning, but it also was something that I understand why they did it. Was the suspense of it. It was like, are they gonna find each other? Are they not? How will we end this season? It's just like, We're gonna
Right.
torment you guys just a little bit more. That's what they
So
were basically
evil.
saying.
Right. Oh my gosh.
I will also say that the last line in the first season was brilliant, where she's just like, who's Yennefer? And I'm just like, no! They found another reason for me to be irritated. It's just like, no! How do you know Yennefer?
Who's Yennefer? Probably your mom, not gonna lie. Probably your probably gonna be your adoptive mom pretty soon.
I'm your adopted father.
That's probably gonna be your
It's
adoptive
just
mom.
like, I'm your adopted father.
Right. I mean, let's be real.
I'm your adopted father. She's gonna be your adopted mother.
Mhm.
Welcome.
You're welcome.
And then the final thing I want to get to talk about now is the fact that all of the episodes are connected so well. From the beginning 4 to the final 4,
Right.
everything tied in, and it was so brilliant the way that they did that. The fact when we first meet Ciri, she's playing the game with the boys out in the courtyard or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? And she looks up because she feels something, and she looks at the door, and then we find out later on that's where he was standing.
Right.
I know.
And
That's cool.
whatever they look at they have those moments where they're like looking at something and it means that they were there. It was
Yeah.
so well done. It was so great. And the fact that you get to the final episode and Gerald's actually in the prison, in the building, looking for her.
Yeah.
It's just like, so
That's
good.
cool. Yeah. Definitely. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
That, and I loved that
And-
episode for that. Like, that was one of the examples of the great use of the
It tied
time
everything
skip.
together.
Yeah, it's really neat. I also thought it was
Mhm.
funny. My dad told me that the I haven't seen Last of the Mohicans. I really want to, because it's like I've been told many times it's a fantastic film. But my dad told me that Queen Calanthe was in Last of the Mohicans, and in that movie, she committed suicide in exactly the same way. So her
Oh,
that actress
that's right.
is
Oh my
forever
God.
doomed to jump off of high places. Yeah.
Oh,
Friend of mine said-
She's oh my gosh, fantastic.
Yeah, she's
so freaking good. Oh man, are there any other like that I'm missing? Because I know that I'm not going to bring them up right now because there was so much that I thought was so good
Mhm.
about the show. Was there anything that you guys found really, really good that we haven't talked about yet?
The opening title sequences.
Literally.
The
Anything.
Striga episode.
Those are awesome.
Everyone.
Sorry. Oh my gosh.
Osama, what did you say?
The Striga episode with King
Mm.
Foltest.
That was really
and
good.
then at the end of the season, when he appears,
Mhm.
you know, and it's all like, at first, when you first see that Striga episode, you just think it's another passing job, and the main point of the episode
Mhm.
was to introduce Triss.
Mm-hmm.
But in
Mhm.
reality, it was to also introduce Foltest and what his role would possibly
Right.
be.
What I like are the importance of these people that he's meeting. So like some shows, and we'll talk about this like later on in other episodes, but like in a lot of shows they have those stupid episodes where it's just filler.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't tie into anything. Sometimes
Mhm.
filler episodes are great because sometimes you just need a break from the main story. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But sometimes you're so sick of filler that you just need to move.
Right.
You know, you just need to move the story along.
Mhm.
And what I first thought was like, oh, this is just going to be an entire season of fillers until you get to episode 4.
Mhm.
And then you realize time jumping is happening. These aren't episodes with fillers. They're actually
They have meaning.
telling the plot of the entire season. And it's just so well done.
Mhm.
Like everybody, literally everybody that Geralt meets is important in some way. Even the first wizard, what was his name?
Stregobor?
Stregobor.
Yes.
Stregobor.
Something
Yeah.
of that
At first, when you
variety.
meet Stregobor, I'm like, oh, he's a one-off.
Mhm.
When you first meet like Stregobor, at first you're just like, oh, he's a one-off character. You know, we're not going
Mhm.
to hear from him again. And then you find out, oh, we're going to hear from him a lot.
Right.
Like, I really appreciated that every ounce of film that they showed us, everything on screen was important to the story
Mhm.
and was important to like character development,
Yeah.
plot structure, moving forward in the story. It was so well done
Mm-hmm.
in that sense.
Definitely.
Also, like costumes and also the locations.
Oh,
that they
yeah.
have.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my god.
Spent a lot of
So-
money on this.
I just have to give
So
props
nice.
to. I gotta give props to like the costume designer
Mhm.
and then the location scouts, you
Yeah.
know, who found these places,
Yeah.
who designed these costumes, who like built these things, because there is so much in those costumes. So
Mm.
many fine details that
Yeah.
we will never fully like see. Here's an example of it, and I kind of catched it towards the end. On the hunt of when they were hunting the dragon.
Yeah.
When they were gonna go hunt the dragon.
Yeah.
The bard in his costume,
Mm-hmm.
right? He had that red costume. He was talking with Geralt, and they were sitting down, and there was this good like side profile of him. And if you look at his like sleeve, it's kind of torn
Mm-hmm.
on the side of it. You know what I mean? Showing that there was like, this is not something that's designed for traveling and fighting things. So it's got tears and
Right.
it's tattered and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was so well done, and every character, all the main characters, had outfits that made them stand out from everybody else, so you could tell the difference, because they introduce a lot of characters to you,
Yeah.
and they want you to be able to tell the difference between these people. So like Triss is another really great example. Her gowns were always very simplistic.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have a whole lot of like bedazzling or anything going on with her outfit compared to like Yennefer, who always had to look her best
Right.
because she's trying to convince people that she has power and control and stuff. It was just very interesting, and the costumes were extremely well made, and I applaud the costume designer and costume makers. Good for them.
Absolutely. Oh, it was so immersive, the whole thing. Like, it was... You can tell a lot of detail went into every bit of the production design, and it was... I really appreciated it. I really liked the title sequences. I thought it was awesome. The different things, and I had a full-on nerdgasm at the last episode in the title sequence. That was just awesome when they all came together to form that awesome...
I kind of saw that coming because I was like, why are they showing us...
Well, I did not.
It was so
and I
good.
thought it was great.
It was absolutely incredible, and I
Yes.
applaud all the people who worked on
Definitely.
it.
Oh, man.
Super great. I want to give props to the actors as well, like Henry Cavill, for instance. I wasn't entirely certain how I felt about him when they first announced that The Witcher was getting made. I didn't know how I felt about him.
Oh, I liked him. I thought it was
playing
cool.
Geralt, you know what I mean? At first I was like, oh, they picked Superman, you know? It's just like, okay. It's not that he's not a great actor, but I wasn't expecting him to succeed so well
Yeah.
in this particular role. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting him to pull out like no stops, just full into this character, because it's so opposite from a lot of the characters
Right.
that he's played. The biggest example being like Superman, and
Right.
then next you have him in the like Mission Impossible movie where he's the
Right.
bad guy, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So it's like,
I get
I
that.
think he did really, really well. And then Freya Allen, I think is her name, who played Ciri. She did so phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
sometimes I think it's hard to find young child actors. You know what I mean? Because you either see two forms of child actors, where it's like they're extremely talented,
Right.
you know, like she is, or you see them trying to pick somebody who can just say the lines
Right.
back.
Uh-huh.
But I think that she was absolutely fantastic. We could go down the list of all of the actors who have been in this, but they were all
Oh, yeah.
fantastically
Yeah.
picked, and just did fantastic. They were just fantastic. I have no other
Fantastic.
words. Just fantastic.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. How many times can I say that?
Fantastic. Yes, indeed.
One thing I'd like to mention is actually the fight choreography. It was masterfully done, I'd say. You couldn't see any transitions, like, you know, kind of like they go into the slice, arm comes off kind of thing. You didn't really see any cuts. I think it was masterfully done. I can't really remember anything off the top of my head except for the one that sticks out the most is the fight in the first episode, where, you know,
Oh, yeah.
she's going to kill
where
Stregobor,
he-
and then she brings her gang.
Yeah.
That was a masterfully done fight.
That was absolutely phenomenal. I can't imagine how long that took them to one, film, two, choreograph, and then three, actually practice for that. It was so good. I don't remember. Was that the one that didn't have any cuts in it? It was just a straight, solid one shot of the entire thing. It was so well done.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Which like leads me into the cinematography of it. The one episode that I loved that had, in my opinion, one of the best cinematography ever was the what was it? The Strigobor? What was it?
Striga,
The monster. The
Striga.
Striga. I'm combining too many names. There's so many, so many confusing names. I think that one had one of the best cinematographies. The reason I say that is because I love anything with fog. It's literally anything with fog in it. So like the very first scene that you get is like you think that it's Geralt going there to fight the monster, and then it's a completely different Witcher, and you're like, wait, who the fuck are you?
Right.
Like, who are you?
Right.
Wait
You're
a
not
minute.
Geralt.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. But I loved the cinematography because the next shot that we get with him is not only is it like super dark and mysterious and creepy, is that part where he's hunting down what I think he thinks is a werewolf or something like that. You know? Then it's like dark and he's got his like demon eyes and
Right.
he's
Steaming eyes.
got all this fog and stuff surrounding him.
Yeah.
It looked so good. And then at the very end of that episode when the princess is turned back into a human. Basically, it's like an extremely like gray and dark area, but the lighting for it was so well done and so intentional. I loved that episode just primarily because of the cinematography that went along with it.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but that was good.
Oh yeah. Loved it.
No, it really was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do we have any other closing comments on this before we take a vote? I think I already know how this vote is going to turn out, but we're still going to do it. Do we have any other closing comments from anybody else who wants to talk about literally anything?
I think
Lucas?
Don't raise your hand. They can't see you.
well, I didn't want there to be like a chorus of like people like, well, so I think the only thing I wanted to say was that I think having heard the different ways the main character's name is pronounced, I think it's going to be the new GIF thing. Because I'm pretty...
Oh, no.
I do, because I mean, like, throughout the show...
We're going to get so many people who are like, you're pronouncing it
right,
wrong.
because throughout the show it was Geralt, I'm pretty sure. And then, is it in the game, is it Geralt?
Geralt.
It's like...
It's Geralt, because that's the
Is that
Polish pronunciation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so many of them called him Geralt as well.
Right.
It's so interesting.
It's definitely going to be the new GIF.
How do you guys...
Oh my gosh.
To our audience listening, how do you guys pronounce it? Let us
Yeah.
know on our social media.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce these
That's
names?
our-
And tell us harshly how badly we butchered
That's
them.
our-
Specifically me,
that's our
Megan.
question. Oh my gosh.
So I kind of already know how this vote is going to go based on how we were gushing over this entire thing, but I'm still going to do it. So, to you guys, has this season won you over, or are you just done with it? For me, I can honestly say it's won me over. I'm definitely watching season 2, which is coming out very soon from what I hear, or at least they're getting ready to do something with it. Season 2 is coming. I know I'm excited. I'm watching it. Tessa,
Me
what
too.
do you think?
Me too. Absolutely. Yes. I'm really excited to see what happens next. I'm like, please, come out sooner.
Yeah.
Lucas?
I would say same. It's won me. It sucked. No, it won me over. Yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah, it was really cool, and I think I think after Game of Thrones came out, I was looking for a new fantasy show to latch onto, and this was. I think this. I'm excited to see where the characters go, and I'm excited to explore more of this world and what's in it. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm
Osama?
excited for it too. There's one thing, if the first season is any indicator, the thing I'm most excited about is how many more times they can maim Yaskir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm intrigued.
I'm very scared for him.
Mhm.
He's like the little cinnamon bun, like the weird. He's like the cinnamon bun of the group. You know what I
Right.
mean? You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? The quote innocent character that you
Yes.
know can't defend themselves.
like
because
that
we know that
term.
Siri can defend her.
Right.
We know that Siri can defend herself, but like let's be honest,
Right.
the X here cannot defend himself.
Yeah.
He's the quote cinnamon bun who can't defend himself, and I will be very upset if he dies. I'm just gonna say that.
I'm
now.
gonna be honest. When Yaskir was first introduced, I was not a fan. But as the show progressed, I definitely
Loved him
was.
so much.
I definitely was. And it's only because I thought it was going to detract from the story. I was like, okay, please don't just be weird comedy bits at weird moments, but it was much more than that. Like after
It was so perfectly timed.
right,
so
it's
good.
like every moment I was like, okay, I love you, Yaskir. Don't change.
You have the most incredible neck. It's like a sexy goose.
I think the reason that he was made so funny is because it's such a serious show, and all the
Right.
characters are so serious and don't make any real jokes except for him.
Right.
Which is what I think it needed, and I
Yeah.
think they had just the right amount. So he's the cinnamon bun who can't defend himself,
Right.
and I'll be very upset if he dies.
Yeah. I like.
I wouldn't worry
Yeah.
about. I wouldn't worry about him. If the games are any indication, you don't have to worry about his longevity.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, well, I guess that has like basically sealed the deal on The Witcher. This season, 4 out of 4 has won us all over, and we will be very excited to watch season 2. Maybe when season 2 comes out, we will come back and talk about that as well. Let us know if you guys want us to do that as well. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening to The Viewers Club, and this episode of Season 1 are done. Let us know what TV shows that you want us to watch the first season of and give our opinion on, and we might actually watch it and discuss it. I don't know how to end it.
This is the Viewers
My
Club
name's-
signing off.
This is The Viewers Club. My name is Megan.
And this is Tess.
Do it.
Oh my gosh. I'm Lucas.
Wow, beautiful.
And I'm Osama signing off.
Dear God.
Okay.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
What were we supposed
What
to
are we
say?
saying?
Oh, we're stopping recording. Okay.